Welcome to Power Yoga. Finally be strong in the Lord and mighty in His power as we take a deep inhale, coming up through that salute, swan dive, beginning to warm flat back, gently fold, pressing through those feet, soften the knees, and as we open back up to salute, allow a gentle twist to the right and then to the left, moving through the thoracic back as we fold swan dive. Inhale, flat back, forward fold. Soften those knees, press with the earth as we reverse swan dive. Again, twisting to the right, to the left, and open. Swan dive, flat back, gently fold. Allow those knees to soften as we rise back up, warming into that chair as we take those hands to heart. Let's lift that right knee, grounding through that standing foot, switching now, lifting that left knee. Again, feeling the anchoring through the standing foot, one at a time, allowing some movement through those hips. As we begin now to open into rotation, right hip and left hip, just finding a little gentle circular movement, bringing some synovial fluid into those joints as we begin to warm up. Inhale, salute. Swan dive, flat back and fold. Again, pressing through that earth, returning to those twists, allowing ourselves to swan dive, flat back, building some speed. Again, gently twisting through thoracic as we fold. Inhale, exhale. Now, as we press through those feet, feel the grounding, reverse and into chair. Allow those hands to come to heart center as maybe we twist to the right and maybe to the left, allowing yourself to slowly begin to feel heat through those legs. Swan dive. Inhale, flat back and forward fold. Grounding through those hands, stepping back with that left leg, rotating open with that right arm, gentle twist. Rotate that back foot and open through that heart. Again, coming back to lunge and twist, opening to pivot and left arm reaches up. One more as we come into that lunge. Allow yourself to find your stability, gently twisting to the right. And now reversing that side angle as we take that nice flow. Maybe here you allow yourself to feel your stability and heat extending into that side. Finding that length here, you can intensify with the core, reaching both arms overhead, coming back to stand and sitting deep into that warrior two, pivoting into that lunge, grounding through those hands. Feel that movement, pressing back into down dog. Now slowly coming to that belly as we lower and inhale, open that heart, tucking those toes, pressing back down dog. 3 breaths. Feel the beginning of that heat to move through your body. Noticing your deep inhales and your full exhales as we take that gaze forward, slowly stepping those feet to the hands. Inhale, flat back, forward fold, and reverse swan dive. Gentle twist to the right and to the left. Maybe now you're starting to feel some freedom in that flow as you gently swan dive, flat back, and allow that head, neck, and shoulder to release. Stepping back with the opposite leg, gentle twist as we open the left arm, rotating that back foot, opening to the right arm. Again, coming back, pivot, and left arm opens, grounding that hand, pivoting, right arm opens. Pressing here as we feel that long length to our high lunge and bringing in a gentle twist. Noticing as we open that back leg, pivoting to warrior two, reverse warrior, and coming down to that side angle, taking a couple more movements here, building that heat. Now as we straighten that front leg, reaching and pivot, again feeling the strength of that core. Maybe take the gaze up and lengthen those arms overhead, feeling that strength as we come back to stand, softening into that front knee and cartwheel back down to the floor. Again, pressing both feet back, finding that down dog. Allow your breaths to move through your body. Gently bending into those knees, maybe jump or step forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, full forward fold. Softening through those knees, open the wings and find that chair. Maybe here, hands to heart center and finding a gentle twist if it feels available. Allowing both sides to feel that freedom. Through those feet. As we step back, maybe we allow a twist here And gently coming back, finding center, stepping both feet together, maybe opposite leg stepping back, and again twisting, open that heart if you'd like, allowing those hands back to center and stepping into that chair. Sweeping arms up and drawing hands to heart center, noticing your pulse, letting that breath and pulse build heat through your body, sweeping arms up, and maybe draw those arms before you. Can you come to your tippy toes and lower all the way down to a squat? Starting to feel that strength through the very tips of our feet. Hands to heart center, notice your balance and strength. Again, reaching those arms forward, sweeping them up overhead, feeling the shoulders as we slowly twist to the right and to the left. Again, up. You can always modify and stay in standing. However, if you want to build those feet, ankles, and legs, allow yourself to come out of that with a gentle forward fold, releasing head, neck, and shoulders, noticing the hips over the heart as we now come back into that chair, inhaling, and maybe here rise to your toes. Allowing that balance with the arms in front, slowly squat. Maybe take a couple of pulses here on your toes. If this is okay with the knees today, allow yourself whatever you need. Again, these are all opportunities to explore, sweeping those arms to salute and gently taking those twists through the thoracic back. Allowing now to feel that sense of balance through both toes as we press through those feet. Again, arms forward, slowly rise, and coming to that salute, heart opener, maybe even releasing those arms down, allowing that back to release, opening back through that swan dive, gentle forward fold, hands to knees, shin, step back now as we slowly jump back or step, chaturanga, lowering, gentle up dog. Inhale, feel that breath, tucking those toes, pressing back down dog. Maybe you allow that right leg to reach to the ceiling, drawing the knee to the chest, and then sending it back up, allowing those shoulders to feel the strength as well as the core, lengthening the back of the legs, the front of the hips. Feel that fullness of the movement, noticing your strength. Perhaps you ground that foot and allow now a few breaths in down dog. And releasing the opposite leg up, knee into the chest, and allowing yourself 3 strong lengthening movements as we take that leg back up, returning it back to down dog, feeling that breath, slowly coming back to plank, finding that chaturanga, and full length to your up dog. Gently tucking those toes, pressing back, find down dog, 3 breaths. Maybe here you're opening that hip, releasing, and as you bend that knee, just finding some circles with that lifted knee, moving into that open hip, returning the length, and gently draw that leg back down, feeling through down dog. Again, opposite leg, opening that hip, gently bending that knee, and allowing yourself to find some circles through that hip, maybe explore the other direction. And when you're ready, lengthening that leg, closing the hip, and slowly returning that foot to down dog. Again, feeling that breath as we shift forward over our plank, slowly lowering and opening through that gentle heart opener, tucking the toes, pressing back, find your down dog. 3 breaths, inhaling. And exhale, allow that leg to come in, stepping forward, maybe rotate that back foot, open that heart, allowing those hips to press in and rising to your warrior 2, reversing that warrior and coming back as you slowly cartwheel those hands back down, pivoting that foot, sending that leg back again, finding that down dog, feeling your breath. Opposite leg draws in, stepping it next to your hand, pivoting that back foot as you open, rotate, finding that warrior 2, reverse warrior, and slowly coming back down as we cartwheel. Now building that heat a little more as we press into that down dog, movement of that energy through your whole body, shifting forward onto that plank. Again, we're going to step that right foot now next to the side of the hip and just slowly giving a supported twist. Maybe now you're back in down dog and the opposite left foot steps in halfway, just twisting, pivoting. We're opening the outside of these hips now, finding that down dog, allowing yourself to notice your breath. And this time, as we step that right foot forward, you can take your right hand to the big toe, maybe that hand and foot reach up, supporting that side plank. If that feels available, coming into that lunge, and again, pressing back into down dog. And that strength, as we build your strength, left foot steps forward to the hand, allowing yourself to find that big toe. Maybe you open that hip, stepping it back again when ready, grounding through those hands and press back through down dog. Again, noticing that strength, slowly coming back forward over your plank, chaturanga, as we release full body, just resting, finding that prone on the mat. Allow your body to notice all of your strength, pressing up, gently feeling that back bend, slowly lowering. Maybe rock through those hips for a moment as you release, and gently bending that right knee. Just maybe open the hip, rotate. Hello, happy. Oh, allow that moment for friends and visits. Gently, gently allowing now the opposite leg. We're going to bend that left knee, opening that hip, feeling that length, just coming out of that work we've done, releasing and grounding. Allowing our heart to come back into a slower stillness, integrating the movements we've just moved through, feeling that breath as we take our hands behind our low back, perhaps in our lace, opening that heart, feeling again that anchor. If you like at this point, perhaps you feel that breath inflating belly, ribs, and chest, slowly bending that right knee and slowly bending the left knee, just beginning to lengthen that softened body, both knees. And as we maybe lift that heart, drawing those hands towards the heels, feeling that length. This time, perhaps if available, finding both hands to the tops of the feet. Here, maybe you just notice as you open your heart, inhale, filling that belly, letting your breath lift you up. Feeling that slow movement, if available, as you come a little higher, perhaps even letting those thighs gently lift, releasing arms and legs, anchor, release those hips side to side slowly. As we begin to notice once more the stillness of our breath, coming into that center, hands slowly next to those ribs as we press back, finding a child's pose, 3 breaths, releasing now those hips from that back work, allowing yourself to sense all of the space within your body. Perhaps you thread that needle, left arm gently threading under that right, feeling the back of the shoulder. If you like, maybe here you open that right arm, reaching to the ceiling, rotate that hand, and then opening that collarbone, even taking the gaze up to the ceiling. Again, returning that arm overhead, reaching both arms up through child's pose, noticing that breath, and feeding that right arm under the left, opening through that shoulder. Maybe the left arm gently folds to that low back, opening the collarbone, taking the gaze to the ceiling. As we return both arms back overhead, reaching through that child's pose. Again, noticing that breath as we come back over hands and knees. We're going to just take a moment here and notice those hips, extending that right leg out long, maybe left arm reaches above, and slowly reaching back to find that foot. If available, you can open that collarbone, taking the gaze up. Inhale, fill with breath. Exhale, releasing arm and leg and gently returning to the mat. And if you like, other leg extending out, grounding through that hand as we reach opposite hand, finding the top of that foot where it's available. If you'd like, inhale, open that collarbone, maybe take the gaze up, filling with breath, noticing all of that space, slowly returning arms and legs to extension and back down to the mat. Finding that grounding, we're going to allow ourselves to just take a moment here and draw those ankles to cross, walking back over those feet. Now coming into some core movements. Inhale in this simple seated, gentle twist, allowing that collarbone to open, feeling that thoracic back as we take that gaze back. Noticing that inhale, coming back to center, and exhale through the other side. Gently opening that back collarbone, feeling the thoracic back as we inhale to salute. Exhale, arms, and gently finding heart. As we scooch forward now, making sure we have enough room behind us, we're going to take those arms out forward, slowly, slowly lowering, engaging through that core, feeling that full engagement as we slowly rise back up. Maybe lift just that right knee, maybe the left knee, allowing ourselves to slowly, slowly lengthen back and come back up. We're going to deepen now, maybe both legs floating. You can draw the knees in and lengthen them out. Sweeping arms overhead And again, reaching out to those toes, finding that boat. Allow yourself to sweep those arms up, lengthening the legs out. Maybe here you sense that strength coming back up into boat and gently lowering. And one more time, reaching up to boat, finding that length once more. Inhale. And as we reach to exhale, slowly, if you'd like, you can find the outer blades of the feet. Open those knees. Allow those hips to soften. Maybe the right leg extends out. Maybe the left leg extends out. Maybe both legs together, finding that full length. You can keep those legs lengthened as you slowly recline. And right knee gently, or left knee, gently drawing that knee into small circles, just feeling into those psoas muscles, hips and sacrum. Maybe you hug that leg in, point and flex that ankle, just feeling that space lengthening. You can take the opposite hand to that big toe and gently rotating that leg across. Again, option to just let that leg bend if that is intense on that outer hip. Just feeling that breath. Maybe take your gaze to the opposite arm, and when ready, returning that leg back up, slowly bending the knee in. And when you're ready, we're going to draw the opposite knee in to join it. Maybe make a few circles, resetting those hips. And slowly lengthening that left leg out, keeping that right leg bent. We're just going to make a few circles here, just with the knee, allowing the opposite direction. Feel through those psoas muscles and hips, deep within the core, lengthening that leg. Maybe find the back of the leg and point and flex. Feeling that strength through the front of the leg and length through the back as we find the big toe with the opposite hand. And then slowly draw that leg across the body. Again, you can have that knee bent or straightened or anywhere in between. Perhaps you allow that gaze to come to the ceiling or gently to the opposite hand, noticing your breath as it slows when you draw that leg back up to center, releasing the big toe, bending that knee, and slowly drawing both knees back up. Small circles, resetting those hips, sensing within the body all of the space that has been warmed. We're going to gently, slowly lower the toes to touch and draw those knees back up. Just a couple of times here, feeling that grounding through the core. And a slow, gentle twist. We're going to open those knees out and let those feet come together. And then when ready, taking the feet out and letting the knees come together. Just feeling into those hips and psoas muscles. Once again, returning those feet, finding that alignment with the hips. If you like, hands can come long down the side body and press into those feet as we gently find a easy bridge, reaching those hips high, maybe drawing those shoulders down, strengthening into the mat. Finding the anchors through the top of the shoulders. If you'd like, you can interlace those hands and gently lift those hips a little higher, feeling the strength through the feet as they ground, noticing the fullness of the breath. Inhales to exhale, slowly rocking those knees again, side to side, taking those hips open, knees out, feet together, noticing that breath. And again, opening those feet, allowing that stance to widen and knees together. One more time, drawing those feet in line with the hips and allowing those hands maybe even to come to the sides of the ears, above the shoulders, just feeling some opening through those shoulders. You can come into a bridge here, feeling that anchor. Now, maybe those hips lift. Maybe you just notice more ease through that back as the front of the legs are lengthening with those hips, slowly lowering, allowing yourself to find a moment here. Feeling the front of the arms as they lower. Again, drawing that left knee in, right leg extending out. And we're going to just engage that core, taking that left foot as we keep that knee bent. Maybe you come to a seated. Maybe you plant that left arm back as you reach the right arm overhead, flipping that dog. We can do a couple of those here. Wild thing, flipping the dog. It's a reverse back bend, just letting that front body lengthen, feeling some heat through the back side body. Again, this is a great option for a back bend if back bends are too intense. Maybe let those arms release above head, switching those legs. We're planting that right foot, bending that right knee, and gently using that core strength to come back to seated. Sometimes that's not as easy. Planting that now right hand, grounding through the right foot, lengthening that left leg. Again, maybe lift those hips. Just finding a little space here, noticing that strength. This doesn't have to be intense, just giving yourself a space to open the front body and engage that whole posterior chain. spine, pressing strong through that hand. One more time, feeling that gentle shift in the body each moment as we slowly lower. This time, slowly rolling back down. Maybe find that length through that side, reaching both arms back down the side bodies, grounding through those feet. Again, this time, if you'd like, you can take those hands beside the ears and press up to a full wheel. If that feels available, again, you don't have to. It's always just an option. If you'd like, round into that right foot, maybe lengthen the left foot up. And switching other side, grounding through the left and lengthening through that right. Slowly, slowly lowering, lower, and release. Feeling that ease through the body. Maybe again, you draw those feet together, opening through those knees. Allowing yourself a few moments and drawing those feet out. Draw the knees in, resetting the psoas muscles, giving them a moment to come back into ease. Feeling and sensing any heat through your body. Notice maybe your arms reach overhead and you slowly allow yourself to draw up, reaching even past those toes, rolling all the way back down. And again, engaging that core coming up, extending beyond those toes if available. One more time, reaching out above, out past those feet, and maybe take a gentle twist, finding that opposite leg if it wants to lift, and coming back to center, switching sides, open that thoracic one more time, gently, maybe lifting that leg, coming back again to center, slowly, slowly fold. Noticing that breath, releasing. And as we gently now find one last boat, reaching those arms, slowly releasing onto that back. Maybe take the legs up the wall, opening and closing those ankles. And now as we activate that parasympathetic nervous system, you can draw into happy baby, allowing yourself to release through those hips, length through the spine, perhaps finding a straddle. Hands can come to the tops of the feet for gorilla, and drawing those legs back to center. Allowing yourself to now soften and slowly lowering those knees, lengthening the legs, extending through the arms. Noticing now your body integrating all of the strength that it just moved, stimulated, activated, and connected into. Noticing the heat, noticing the relaxation. Slowly easing through your toes, the balls of your feet, arches to heels and ankles, from ankles to knees, from knees to hips, softening torso to ribs, shoulder blades across chest. Relax the collarbones, from shoulders to elbows, elbows to wrist, through palms to fingertips. Relax through jaw, tongue, softening through cheeks, eyes, and eyelids. Relax through nose, through eyebrows, through temples and forehead. Gently noticing your relaxation. Notice your breath. And as you notice your breath, I invite you to hear these words. Let them strengthen you and nourish your soul, washing over your mind. Colossians 2, 9 through 10. For in Christ, all the fullness of the deity lives in bodily form. And in Christ, you have been brought to fullness. He is the head over every power and authority. As you allow those words to settle into your mind and into your hearing, perhaps you allow them to be felt within your body, noticing the spaces where God has equipped your muscles, your body with strength and life, sensing the spaces of power and heat within your body. Perhaps as you hear the words again, you allow God to draw your attention to those places within your body as you apply these words to the life even within you. For in Christ all the fullness of the deity lives in bodily form, and in Christ you have been brought to fullness. He is the head over every power and authority. Perhaps you take a moment to thank Him for the spaces within your body that He strengthened even through your practice today. Perhaps you notice the spaces within your body where you feel the life, energy, and strength growing and increasing, even where you may have struggled, even where you may have noticed your body needing His strength. Noticing as you feel the movement of fingers and toes, arms and legs, hips and shoulders, gently allowing yourself to come to a seated position. The light in me sees, honors, and so deeply appreciates the light in you. Thank you for bringing your light here. Namaste and Shalom.